Good morning. I'm starting off with questions you guys had on homework number 13. So the first question was number 5, which said 2/10, 2/100, 2/1000 plus so on and so on and so on. Wanted you to know S of 8. So the first thing I did is I rewrote this as a fraction, so I can see 2/10, 2 over 100, 2 over 1,000, and that way I could see R was 1/10. So this is definitely geometric, since it has an R, and so therefore that means that I'm going to take A1, 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R. And then I just did some simplifying to start with. I knew that 2/10 is 1/5. 1 minus 1/10 is 9/10. And from here, several of you said I was having issues with my calculator. Now, your calculator won't convert these, and so I'm going to give you a little hint here in just a second. So, several of you noticed the answer sheet said 2/9, and so you commented, you typed that in, and you got this decimal. Type this in for me. Type in 3/9. Type in 5/9. Type in 14 over 99. Type 21 over 99. Type in 123 over 999. What do you notice? Hopefully you've noticed a pattern there. So that will help you know that 0.2222 repeating is actually 2/9. Okay, the next question I had a couple of you ask about was number 11. So number 11, first off, is an arithmetic series, so you got to pay attention to that. So it gives me the sum. I do not know how many terms there are, so I can't find how many pairs. I know A1, but I do not know that last term. And so by using this, I see I have two unknowns, which means I need another equation. So that's where I am given the first term is 4, the common difference is 10, and that allows me to write the explicit formula. And so I'm going to solve for A sub n. I get 10n minus 10 and then plus 4. So 10n minus 6. That means I'm going to go to my other equation, and every time I see A sub n, I'm going to plug in 10n minus 6. Now, one thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to multiply by 2 because I do not like dealing with fractions. So if I multiply by 2, I get 2,528 equals n times 4. Here's where I substitute, plus 10n minus 6. 2,528 will equal n times 10n minus 2. Let's distribute. 10n squared minus 2n. So I've created a quadratic equation. I know ultimately I'm going to set it equal to 0. I also notice that each of these share a 2. So I'm actually going to divide by 2, so I work with lower numbers everywhere. And then I'm going to set it equal to 0. From here, I can use the quadratic formula. It's not x equals, it's n equals. So n will equal the opposite of b, so 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is also going to be 1, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. So n will equal plus or minus, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator here. Square root of 25,281 over 10. So when I type that in, I'm kind of out of room here. I get 1 plus or minus 159 over 10. I already know that I'm not going to have 1 minus 159. And the reason is because that would give me a negative number. And here I'm talking about n. So n is number of terms. That solution doesn't make any sense for us. So in other words, I'll have 1 plus 159, so 160 divided by 10, which is 16. Okay, one of the other things you mentioned was about notation, and so I want to talk really quickly about an open circle versus a closed circle when it comes to domain. So, I mean, if I look at problem number 1 or piece number 1 and talk about the domain, we could say the domain is -7, which is included because it's a closed circle, is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to -3. That's not equal to, I said that wrong, and the reason is because it's an open circle. When I write that as an interval, my lowest x value is -7, my highest value is -3. -7 gets a bracket because it's equal to, whereas -3 gets a parentheses because it's not included in that interval. Okay, let's talk about piece 2 then. If I write that as an inequality, I've got -2 is less than x, which is less than or equal to +2. -2 is a parentheses because it's open, or is a just less than. 2 is equal to. When I come and write this as an interval, my lowest value is -2, the highest value is 2. -2 gets a parentheses, +2 gets a bracket. Again, the difference is a parentheses means that number is not included. A bracket means it is included. About number 10, one of the things you need to make sure you catch on number 10 is it is arithmetic. So if you try to use geometric, this is not going to work out well for you. So I know the sum. It actually tells me that there are 100 terms. I do not know A1, that's what it's asking me to find, and I don't know A of 100. So I have two unknowns, which means I need another equation to relate those two unknowns, and that's where I can write the explicit formula. So I've got the ordered pair 1 and A sub 1, 100 and A sub 100, I should say here. I didn't write that on any of these. And I know the common difference is -5. So I simply used point slope form, and I got A sub 100 by itself. And so what that now means is that I can plug that in for A sub 100. So -9,750 will equal, well, 100 divided by 2 is 50. A1 plus A1 minus 495. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 50. So I get -195 equals A1 plus A1 is 2A1 minus 495. If I add -495, I need to add that to both sides. So I'm going to add 495. I get 300 equals 2A1. So therefore A1 is 150.